talk about a new Bretton Woods is here for some time. Now it's getting more attention, and if you look for the future, what you have to do in the present, you need to look back and learn from the history in the present so that you can build something for the future. And here you get that perspective. It may not be, the reserve asset. It can be more likely an eSDR. Okay, so what's an SDR? How is it calculated? You need to actually know that. And then, yes, it talks about the eSDR, which XRP is going to become as a talk is there. Now we go look at what the Bretton Woods system is, because unless you know that, it's going to be really hard for you to understand what's coming ahead. Because right now the talks of eSDR, or the electronic version of that, central electronic currency, which is tied to all other currencies, are coming out. And if you remember the history, we had a lot of times when IMF and Ripple used to be together talking about a lot of different stuffs, discussing through that. But whenever the questions come, sometimes they dodge it. They don't really answer it. And the answer to this, you can actually go find in World Bank documents. You can go look at IMF documents, and you're going to get through that. You can literally read through and learn from this, because that's actually one of the important steps. Right now, you are talking about the CBDCs and how you're going to move into that new system. So if you understand this properly, first you need to understand, okay, they understand this accurately, because they give you that idea of stable coins, and then they talk about the liquidity using XRP, and you come on to look at OMIF and they give you this SDR, eSDR, and they talk through that. Then the stable coin, they talk through that. They actually give you all the stuff which you really need. So cross-border payments and central bank digital currencies is something which is at the moment on the table. See, we can call it as a hot topic on the table. So that is going to take you towards an era where you are getting the same. This is really interesting. See, when Digital Pound Foundation is putting this one out for financial inclusion, now it's the era of being politically correct. Whether you agree or not, you think about that every time before you speak. So financial inclusion is there. I agree, and that's the narrative from here. So when you look at the SDR, you actually get, okay, fine. Right now they are increasing this so that they can have an ability to fund up to $1 trillion, right? So they can have this up to $1 trillion. That's huge, because at the current price of XRP, to match that, you need to do a 27x to reach. They say right now you're $37 billion, and if you put that 27 times, XRP need to be at $21 to match that. Now that's one scenario. But you have another one where, if you really understand the gold standard, if you really understand the Bretton Woods systems, you're like, okay, fine. Whenever these guys actually move into something, they always does this in a way that it's going to be stable for a long period of time. They're looking for 40, 50, 100 years. It's not 5, 10 years which they are actually looking at, right? So if that's the case, and you understand history and gold standard and how all things change, and before that what happened, you are like, okay, that's huge. Because you learn about this, and you come to the current stuff. If you want different perspective, you can read through this book. That's going to give you a lot more information about that. And then you come and you look at, okay, what's happening right now? Okay, that means the FX reserves is now becoming an issue when you say, okay, literally you can steal the money of other country. Because if your country, say for example India, you have gold reserves in other countries like Britain, and now is at this point you're like, okay, whether we are going to get that back or not, we don't know. Whether we are going to get our forex reserves back or not, we don't know. And Putin go back into gold standard. All of this is really confusing, right? Look at the total value of gold. It's $10 trillion. Now just look at one currency, because in the basket of SDRs you have a lot of them, but just look at one. $40 trillion. It's the physical cash, money deposited and all, $40 trillion. Then you look at investments, derivative, cryptocurrencies, and that market just balloons. So if you really want to actually replace that inside the market, now you're looking at $40 trillion. So what does that make XRP price? From here, this is around $1 trillion, and if you need 40 trillion, you multiply this with 40, and that's mind-boggling. So you may really not get there. I'm not sure. This is just from my end. I'm trying to make sense of this based on what I've read through. Now, I'll put the link in the description. You can read and make your own judgment. But I'll actually give you my reasoning of where it's going to go and how they're going to play with this stuff. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, we've talked about different assets, different structures. We talked about Polar. It just went high. I informed you guys. Then if you're seeing different opportunities in the market, you actually look at different opportunities. Fine. You see patterns and you see opportunities. And that's one of the reasons why you should look at different assets in this market. Fine. Fundamentals, you look at that. If you're a long-term investor, you need to make sure you are entering into a coin which has a lot of fundamentals, right? Now, you look at this. This is another coin which is for payments, that's getting attention. It's a payment token. So previously, while we know that it has fundamentals and the indicators are just bouncing from the support, we had this call. And right now, you look at this. Okay, you had the same pattern. You just broke higher. So now, there's going to be correction, there's going to be retracement and then move higher. So if you understand the market well, trade, fine, but not super short term. Go, at least a month, 2, 3. Otherwise, it's going to be super risky. Now, coming back to our topic, because this is really important for you, me, and everyone to get that clarity. Fine. So when we are going into a new Bretton Woods territory and they need, a scalable neutral asset to go through this, look at Chinese yuan, euro, yen, pound, and dollar. So this basket is now equal to $1. So eSDR equal to $1. US. So now they're actually kind of matching it up and looking at this, and they need a total of what? $1 trillion, close to that. That's the basket right now. When you look at what they're holding, it is the basket as of now. Now, with that being said, how can they actually suppress the price of XRP if they are getting the supply? It's actually easy because, this need to be stable for the payments. One of the reasons is, XRP is designed as an appreciating asset. That means with every transaction, the supply reduces. With that demand, the price should go higher. So the amount in escrow, now that's just my thought process. The amount in escrow, if a supranational organization like IMF, United Nations, World Bank, someone gets hold of that, they can supplement this particular supply. Meaning supply is being reduced with transaction and they can put new supply to balance that. But even at that point, the buying pressure from the other side, once we know this is really happening and the announcement is here, the world is going to go behind this. Why? Because SDR is a global reserve asset, and eSDR would be something which is used to supplement this stuff. So once people know this, they're going to run behind XRP to buy it. So the buying pressure is going to be huge. And one stuff, they will make money from this, because if they have half of the supply and they're buying heavy now, and this announcement comes out, people buy and the price goes up, it's going to benefit, the normal guys as well. But the big winners there will be them who have a ton of XRP. That's a huge difference there itself. So when you see the market cap is the sum of money multiplied by the total supply. But the total stuff is not actually the circulating supply. You know this, I know this, everyone knows this. Just don't neglect this. Just don't deny this. You have XRP, say it's in a ledger, it's outside, it's not circulating. Mine is outside from a long time, right? You're not, you're literally not trying to put that into the marketplace. So it's not in the circulating supply. So multiplying the price with the circulating supply to reach the market cap is idiotic. So if they really need $1 trillion, the price should be even higher. So now, yes, you do understand this fundamentally. Great. Now you have time to read through this and look at what's happening. Wall Street Silver actually tweeted this one. Now China is buying Russian energy with its own currency. So that's yuan in action. So we'll have to see how the Western world react to this. But, China is dominating. Now, you look at the first Bretton Woods and how it collapsed. The collapse of that, you can identify it directly from the price of gold, because before that, it wasn't a gold standard, right? You can actually say like, okay, first it was a fully gold standard, then we went into a semi-gold standard, and then, it just broke out. So when you look at the gold price, you see that being stable for a very long period of time. And then you see it slowly picking pace by 1920s. The great financial crash or the economic depression there, that's one of the reasons adding pressure on the price of gold. Fine. But by the time Nixon took dollar out of the gold standard, the price started going nuts. But is it the price? Yeah, it's in the dollar price. But did the value of gold go higher, or your fiat went down? Because gold is atomic number 79. It's not going anywhere. It's not increasing anything. It has been there from thousands of years. It will be there for a long period of time, even when we are here and we are gone. But the value is now skyrocketing. From that time, if you look from $40, you're close to $2,000, which is a huge number. So when you come on to the Bretton Woods 3, that is one of the stuff which they are learning a lot from 2007 crash, the great financial crisis. They now have both of this as a learning point, even including 2001 crash. And then they are going to look into this one. So back then, they didn't have the technology. But right now, they have the technology. Now, whether you look at this positively, negatively, you see your conspiracy coming out. But there is a chance for that too, I agree, but it doesn't matter. If you can make this market dynamics play for your portfolio, think well. And if you really want to learn, listen to this one once or twice. I literally had to go through it twice, because some of the stuff you learn directly, it's hard in just one time, right? So you literally have to think about all this twice and go search, find stuff. Now, unless you are someone from financial sector, it's easy for you. But otherwise, you are looking at this. Different types of money is there in the market. We understand that. But the valuation you need to look at is huge to go through all these assets. Because it's not just the real estate. It's not just, one asset. You have an entire asset class, an entire stuff of money here. So you literally have to, when you move on to new system, that new system should be accommodating everything. That's why the central bank digital currencies are being planned and, slowly rolled out. Because when they talk about different central bank stuff, they already understand how much they're going to do. And just to the consideration of SDR, the new Bretton Woods moment, you are like, okay, that's like $1 trillion buying power for IMF. And again, it pushes the XRP price towards 21.6. That's not a small number. From here, you literally have to do 27x. So now, yes, this scenario is in the market. You look at all the stuff and yeah, you understand central bank digital currencies are being rolled out. You read through this and you're like, okay, I kind of get that point. Because then if they are going to match this one, it's not just the $40 trillion we talked about in dollar. You have to look at all these currencies, which it will be backed by. And then you are looking at, okay, if that's the case, how would other countries react to it? Because the SDR basket is not including Indian rupees, not including, Russian. How will they react? So we'll have to see all of these dynamics coming out. Now, as a short-term trader, you don't care about all this. If you are an investor, you do. Because this is going to change the way money works. Because if you have seen this and you understood this one, money literally changed by that 1971 incident, right? Nixon took the gold out of gold standard. Done. It's like, print till prosperity. Now they're printing till death, I think. Hopefully. We don't know. If they can manage that, not with the, modern monetary theory, MMT story, just with the reality. Because, if you provide supply, additional supply, and then again additional supply increases dramatically, which pushes the inflation to the upside. And you see that. You don't need a PhD in finance to actually understand that. Supply and demand, that's basic economics. And tied with that, you also have the geopolitical scenario where, you have a lot of supply chain disruptions. So that pushes the price again to the upside. I've seen a news from the Northern American territory where they were like, okay, we are going to slow down now, that happened in the New Zealand too. We are going to slow down the housing purchases from foreign investors. Okay. That means that side of money is being slowed down. They're pushing them out. Fine. Do you really think the market is going to slow down only because of that? No, you start hiking the interest rate, the market slows down, it saturates, and then you increase again, boom, it comes down. But they will blame this on, slowing down. They know that the interest rates are going to go up, the real estate market is going to go down. But right now they'll say, we have done this to stop, the Chinese buyers, the Arab buyers, so that the price is lower for our citizens. That's the politics, right? Politics always plays that role. So similarly, when you look at this, yes, that money changed from 1971, and that those who understood that used it on their side. Their portfolio ballooned. If you want to listen to gold, this particular stuff, a lot to learn more, listen to Robert Kiyosaki. He has a channel, he has a lot of different sessions. Listen to that. You'll get a big reward if you understand and practically put that into your portfolio. So now, with that being said, if XRP is to be the eSDR, then there lies a question like, okay, how many of us can actually use it? Because when the gold standard, was moved, literally it was like, okay, the government is going to buy the gold from you at a lower price, 35, 36, say here, and then they'll increase the price. So if that's the case, and government says, okay, I'm going to give you $20 per XRP, then the price goes to 800, it really is hard. I don't know how the dynamics is going to play out, but we'll have to think about, okay, one or the other, the price has to go 10, 20, 30x minimum to the upside. How many of you guys would still be there when this market dynamics plays out? Guys, if you're receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you need these kind of breakout calls, look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where we post on a regular basis. Now there's an Ask for TA session happening where you ask TA. I post that for your asset in your portfolio, so you know where your portfolio is and where that particular asset is going to go. So you just look at your target, you take out the money at your target. You don't have to sit and wait without knowing, okay, where should I take the profit, right? That is available in the Patreon. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.